So the CFO of Rutter-Jackson Financial Services, is that the official title? I want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
correct.
All right. So what got you excited about starting it? What entails what is Rutter-Jackson Financial Services? And I just want to let everybody know, all of my listeners, if you contact Rutter-Jackson Financial Services, you tell them that Mr. Burdon sent you, you get a free 40-minute consultation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Totally wouldn't get that without referring me, right?
I mean, you would, but yeah.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I'm really excited. Tell me about Rutter-Jackson Financial Services and what you do, what's involved, how this is such a huge help for people and the need that you're servicing.
So there's a huge underlying stress and anxiety when it comes to money. And so I want to be able to help people with that. I don't think there's enough people out there to guide others when it comes to finances. And so, like, what is a financial coach? Because that's what I am. And so a financial coach is someone that is going to help you work on your financial goals to get out of debt, save money, and build wealth. And so, like, I follow the Dave Ramsey method. But to back up a little bit, so I was a teacher and I taught for 7 years, and I was on my second child, and I just moved school districts and moved different to another location. And it was really stressful. And it was like, am I going to continue to teach, or could, I stay home with my children? And so I was only going to come out a little bit ahead with the pay. Like, to have 2 kids in childcare, I would only have a few extra hundred, like, left out of working. Yeah. And I was already spending so much time during the week and the weekend. So we said a prayer about it, and I'm like, God, help me. Like, how could we make this work with our finances? And so, a friend told me about the program. It's called Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. And what it is, it's video lessons that you watch and you learn from. And so we went through that. My husband and I went through that program. We watched the video lessons. We learned more about our how to manage our finances, and we were able to pay off $40,000 worth of debt in 2 years.
Wow!
And so that was our car, the van, and credit cards, but it was mostly the vehicles. Mm-hmm. And so you pay off all your debt but the house. And you would follow, like, baby step 1 would be save $1,000, and that would be so that you don't end up falling back on the credit cards if you have an emergency. And then baby step 2 would be pay off all your debt, except for the house. Baby step 3 would be to have like a 3 to 6 months emergency fund based off of your monthly expenses.
Like if your car breaks down or if something like that happens.
Yeah. So baby step 4, so you go in that order, because a lot of times it's like, well, what order do I go in? Do I save money? Do I pay off debt? Like, what do I pay off the house? And then from there, it would be baby step 4, 5, 6 you would do together, which would be you're working towards paying off your house, saving more for retirement, and saving for your kids' college fund if you have children. But really the purpose, and then step 7 is to build wealth and give. And so what I really love about the program is, like, it is, based off of managing money God's way, but it's also it's not just about, okay, well, I want to have more money. No, it's about taking care of yourself so that you can be generous with others.
Mm-hmm. But you gotta make sure you're you can't give away and then be poor and then all of a sudden you need it. I love that. What I love first just hearing it is this is like teaching. You're breaking it down. You said baby steps, and that's scaffolding. That's that, step 1. It's, a lot of times you and I used to use the analogy, you can't eat an elephant in one bite. You got to do one bite at a time. And, the kids, a lot of times kids would look at this like huge project and they get overwhelmed. It's the same thing, I think, with a lot of adults. And so many adults, especially in this economy, are probably hand to mouth or they're in survival mode, and they may not realize that they don't have to be like that. That they even when they feel like they're in survival mode, there are things, like you said, baby steps that they could start to really build themselves into a position where they can be financially secure and be able to give back to the community and give back. I think that's tremendous. It's I mean, that sounds like, so definitely, and it's cool that there's like a divine hand and guidance in this, like that you felt pulled to do this. Do you feel some satisfaction in that? Like, you sounded like you were kind of at a crossroads, you weren't sure what to do, and then suddenly this falls in your lap, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it was really powerful, like what I learned. And so, I always thought I was doing good because I had, and my family did the best they could to like help me. But I thought I was doing good because I had a good credit score and I paid, I paid my bills on time. Like I really felt like I was successful with money doing that. But I realized over the years, like there were some things that held me back, not learning to save. And, we're in our culture, like we are literally exposed to about 4,000 to 10,000 advertisements a day, like not necessarily watch, but exposed to. And we live in a culture that wants us to spend. And, we're told the lie that if you go to college, like, and you take out student loan debt, like you're going to be successful. And it's not that you're not going to be successful from going to college. It's all the debt that comes from a system that allows you to borrow so easily.
Yeah. I hear a lot of folks too. I mean, I'm not going to argue against some loan forgiveness, but I feel like that they need to also look at the cause, because if we cancel student debt, I think that would be tremendous. And I don't know what the impact would be financially, but it doesn't address the issue. The issue is exactly like you said. A lot of these college, and again, I think some of it comes from, the World War II mentality back then was, oh, you got to go to college, son. You got to get your degree, that kind of thing. But whereas now, it's like, there's a myth that, and it's not that you're not going to be successful. What it is that when you graduate, you're going to have this burden of debt on you and your compensation's not going to be reflective of your debt. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like especially as teachers. I mean, we're one of the most underpaid professions out there, but to spend 40 grand on an education and then become a teacher, and be strapped with that. It's cruel, and it's not necessary. And I think that we need to look at solution. One, I mean, we're in a society now where we need to look at some solutions where some education maybe should be free or very greatly reduced, especially like community college.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many jobs out there that don't even really look at needing a bachelor's degree. And I feel like you're absolutely right. But also, I think what you're doing is tremendous from the standpoint of people not realizing what they can do even when they feel like they're scraping by.
Yeah, and student loan debt is the one debt that is not bankruptable.
Yeah.
It's not bankruptable. So why is that? So it's like, you could literally bankrupt, and I don't encourage people to bankrupt. That's not what I'm saying. But like you could bankrupt credit cards if you got in a position where you're really, you were in a position where you had to do that. But you cannot get rid of student loan debt.
They got you. As soon as they get that student loan debt, they got you like this, and it's, I'm still paying mine off. I'm still not out from under it, but I think that's one of the cruelest things. And let me ask you this: do you feel like more classes on these kind of financial issues should be taught in public school more? Like,
absolutely, yeah. And I think that I absolutely think there should be more financial literacy taught in schools.
Not just counting coins.
Well, and I just don't. This is a topic that I could really get into. And like
well,
you
I
said,
want you to come back and chat another time. So let's get into it, but we can do a part 2, total financial side of education another time. But go ahead. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, I mean, when you're held back because of debt, you have less freedom, you have less choice. And it's harder to like go after your dreams that you want to do when you have all these payments that you're having to pay. And like you were saying, like if it was taught in high school and you were taught how to manage a credit card, or maybe not to even have a credit card, to save up for things that you want to get versus like, I'm going to get it now and pay later.
Oh, Vanessa, but you have to have a credit card. How can you not have a credit card? I mean, credit cards, I mean, it gives you so much freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I've seen that look before in a collaboration meeting. No, but you're right. I mean, it's almost like we're subliminally taught that debt is part of life. Is it really though?
And right, is it like debt is so normal in our culture,
mm-hmm.
and like broke is not normal. And we live in a society where we're not poor, but we're broke when we have all the debt on us.
Oh, that's great. We're not poor, but we're broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a cool way to say that. Catch full episodes of the Educators podcast every Thursday at 4 p.m. Real educators with the real issues in education. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, take care of yourself. Jeans passes for anyone who likes, shares, and comments on this video. Have a great week.